I feel like I haven't seen you, bro.
I know. Yeah.
What's going on, Dan?
Episode 13. Dude, you hate odd numbers.
It's okay. My lucky number is 17, so it just doesn't even
Mhm.
make sense to even me.
Oh, we're almost there.
Yeah. I won on roulette on number 17.
Whoa. That's why you got the Tacoma?
It was a big win. They're like, people don't usually put, like, you know, because like when you go to the roulette table, you'll spread out like 20 or 30 or 40 bucks. And I put 50 on 17, and they're like, people don't do that. And I was like, well, I want to do that. And they're like, it's not advised. And I was like, I'm going against advisement. And then they hit 17. And I was like, yes.
It's like they knew. They're like, you better not.
Yeah,
We don't want you to
that's true. I
beat
didn't
the
think of
house.
it that way.
So I was hoping we could start this episode real quick by pandering to the masses.
Yes.
Because the Spotify was telling me that we need to ask our audience to subscribe.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Well, I just got off the phone because I have a list of the people that are getting hats. And I just ordered all the hats because I didn't have enough.
Oh, nice.
So that's happening for people that subscribed and commented.
Oh, good.
But we need more people to subscribe.
Yeah, just if you're into this podcast,
Yeah.
want to support the growth of the channel, it helps. It helps to subscribe.
It's easy, I think.
Yeah, it's just
I
you
should
click
try
a button.
after this and subscribe to my own.
Are you subscribed?
I'm going to after this. It'd
Yeah.
be rude to do it during, so I'll wait till after.
Yeah, but it would be great. Subscribe, like it, share it with a friend. Help the channel grow. Help us feel like we're talking to more people.
I think the other thing that we need to do is bring on a guest or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple people have pondered.
Do you want to drop any Easter eggs on
No.
who you're thinking about?
God, no.
Because I think it would be really cool to have for you to deep dive in conversation with other
Yeah.
experts in the construction arena.
Yeah, I'd
the
like to talk
trades.
to other small businesses in Floyd too,
Nice.
you know, and see, I just have never done that. Like, I've never even done a podcast until this one. And so I guess I'm just don't know how it would start. So, but I'm interested in doing it because I think it'd be fun because I'm running out of things to say. Well, I say that and then we talk for. And,
I just pulled up a list of like these. We came
Oh,
up with
yeah?
100 video topics last year. So
Oh, good.
if we ever run out of anything,
You got stuff.
I got
You got
yeah.
ammo.
But
yeah.
I think having guests talking about the trades, talking about running a business in a small
Yeah.
town, and maybe people from out of town will want to eventually come and talk to you too.
Well, it's like one of the cool things about this community, and I don't know what it's like in other people's communities because I don't necessarily talk to them about it or I haven't listened about it. But the one thing I love about this community is that a lot of the small businesses talk to each other, you know, at least for me. And we kind of, I don't want to say it's advice. It's more like our opinions about our business models and what we're doing, or stressed out about something that happened. Has that ever happened to you? No, but something's kind of like it did. And it's been this really cool thing where I've even been tempted at times. And I think Dylan from the country store and maybe Hayden at some point, we were like, we should start a small business crew to like just debrief, but we're all so busy that it's hard to get on a regular schedule with stuff. But I get so much out of it. Like when somebody calls me for advice, and that's not how it always is, or really a shoulder, you know, to lean on for a minute to just, and it's sometimes vice versa, you know, it's not just like they're always calling me for things, but I realize when they're asking me about a situation going on for them and I talk it through, I feel like I'm getting more out of the conversation than they might. Now, I don't know what's going on in their head, but that process for me has always been really good because I'm talking about real life events that have happened to me that kind of relate to their situation. And I'm reminding myself of the things that I probably need to be doing myself. It's always been just a good process. It's not like, this is how you should do what you do and blah, blah, blah. And then like nothing. For me, it's more like, yeah, let me think about that. Oh, okay. I should probably do that too. You know, I might not say that in the moment, but, you know, I've been going to Nashville to take these national contractors classes, and I've been learning a lot, dude. Like, it's really just a prep course for the test, but like little ins and outs of business and little things. And I text Courtney during those meetings and I'm like, hey, add this to the contract, or something. And it's nothing bad. It's just learning as we go, and yeah, it's going pretty good. And I'll tell you, doing the podcast has really united like the front for me with other contractors because I've talked to them, and it's not like they're like, oh man, we get so much out of your podcast or whatever. They're like, hey, we like listening. It's cool. We get to hear a little bit about what's going on for you. And to me, I've been like, that's pretty cool. And I've also kind of gotten some, I just improved some of my relationships. Like I talked about Extreme Concrete the other day, and they're just awesome people, man. Travis and his wife Fran are just great people, and we're working together now, and I'm really excited about that relationship, and it's just good. I think for me, what I've gotten most out of this podcast is people coming up and wanting to talk a little bit about it and the podcast, and saying that they got something out of it. Because every time I'm like, I'm not gonna do this anymore, I wake up on Friday morning and I'm like, I was just gonna tell Darren I got diarrhea. and you'll probably be like, that's fine, I got a toilet in the other room. But I'm like, I don't want. And then I'm like, I guess we're gonna keep rolling until people are like, this thing sucks, dude, and like, what do you keep doing it for?
That might give you more fuel.
Yeah, I probably
depending
go
on the
even
person.
bigger. I like bring in an AI robot and I'll be like, let's do this, bro. Yeah, it's been a tough week. We've had somebody really dear to us, an Omnibuild, go through a tough situation in their life. And I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed at how, I say it all the time, like we're like a family, but this week has really proved that to me, like, and I think it should to the rest of the company as well, that when somebody's going through a hard point, we're all going to be there to pick them up, as much as we can. And I just like love seeing that. I get more out of that than like anything else, and I think about it, it's like somebody the other day said, you're very generous, and I don't think they're necessarily talking about monetarily. Maybe they are, but about what I do. And it crosses my mind a lot because I could pull more out of the company and do more with my personal life, but I get a lot more enjoyment out of helping other people in the community and the company personally. And I feel like I make enough for me to live the life that I want to live, so I've been very grateful, and it's weeks like this where I look around and I'm like, we're not a company, we're a team, and we have a family values, and I'm proud to be a part of that, and it's not like, it's tough, it's like I was texting, we're looking for a bunch of help right now in electrical and plumbing and carpentry, and I was texting somebody last night, and I'm texting fast, like I'm always moving and reading an estimate or doing this or that, and I'm texting while I'm doing it, and I realized the text was, hey, this is Matt. I work with Omnibuild. I work at Omnibuild with Ethan and Meg, and I was wondering if you wanted to work for us this and I was glad that it came out that way, because I feel like that. I'm like, we all are a part of this thing, and it doesn't work without one or the other. So,
yeah.
And I talked to a project manager in California that might want to work out this way, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Shred the nard, bruh.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how he talks, but
that's how he thinks.
That's how I think about California people.
So when I texted you if we were doing the podcast, I asked if you had a topic in mind, and you did a little thumbs up on my.
Oh, I thought that was
So I thought, oh, Matt's locked and loaded with an idea.
No. I thought you had topic. That's pretty funny. I thought you asked me if I thought you told me I have a topic and I gave a thumbs up because I was like, sweet, Dad's thinking
You're
about
just moving too fast, man.
No, I am. That happens a lot. I think I say yes to things that I don't fully read. And next 2 weeks, I'm hammering down. I got a 2-day work trip. Then I come home. Then I fly to Nashville for training. Then I come home, and then I fly to Colorado for our niece's graduation. Leela, good job, girl.
Yes. It's going to be a big family trip.
It's a big family trip. I sent you a video about how to deal with babies on the plane.
Yeah, I'm going to need to get some painter's tape from you.
I think that actually looks like a really good idea. I might do it for myself.
Just
you
playing
put
with
tape
painter's
all
tape
over the back seat, and then they just try to pull it off the whole flight. I might do that too. It's like putting Elmer's glue on your hand as a kid, then peeling it off after it dries.
Then eating it.
Like
It's a big deal. It's baby's first flight, baby's first family trip.
Do you happen to have any glue?
I ate it all.
Yeah, baby's first trip. It'll be good. We got a lot of people on that plane, so
yeah, there's like 12 family members, so it's gonna be
loaded.
Pretty funny.
It's gonna be really funny for you.
Yeah.
All right, what's up?
Well, I think to stay on the thread of this conversation, we were talking a little bit about bringing in some guests, bringing in business owners around town that are friends, talking about businesses, running business.
Yeah.
You mentioned the team. I think we need to just keep talking about that mentality because you mentioned how grateful you feel for seeing and witnessing how your team is coming together around a member who is having a really hard time.
Yeah.
And it's showing you that the foundation of what brings you the most joy in your company is strong, is that team, that family, that unity. And because you get that reward out of those things and people say you're generous, which you are in many different ways, but that brings you gratitude to see people benefit from the giving of self to one another. It's not just a transactional, here's your paycheck, I'm taking a huge cut for me. It's more like, how can we grow together as this so that when times are hard, we want to band together. Yeah. And I think that, it might surprise you because that's really hard for any business to achieve, but it's just, you've been practicing it in your life, and as a business owner, it trickles. Everything comes from the top and goes down. So if you have that mentality that's built so strongly into your lifestyle, it's going to show in the lives of others. And I think, what do you think about that? Like, how do you see if we're going to get a little meta here about running a business, how do you see your life and what you're going through impact the trajectory of your business as it grows?
It's such a good question. It's interesting because yesterday I took an exam down in Roanoke at PSI, which is freaking horrible, man. It's like they search you and scan you and do all this crazy stuff, and it's 5.5 hour exam, no breaks. But when I was sitting in the waiting room, there's other people in there asking, and this is a tricky thing to talk about publicly, but waiting for their turn to like go do their debrief and take their exam. And there was a guy sitting next to me, and I could tell he was in construction. And I said, "Hey, what do you do?" And he says, "I do concrete work." And I was like, "Cool." And he's like, "What do you do?" And I was like, "I do a little bit of everything." And we just started talking, and he's like, "What are you here for?" And I said, "No, I'm taking a national exam." And he was getting his Class B or something like that. And I said, he goes, "Oh, how many people do you have?" And I said, "Yeah, we're around 50 something, and I said, "We work with a lot more, so sometimes, like I've said before, we might be managing over 100 people easily in a day, sometimes that can go through the roof." And and I'm taking these exams, and I'm going to Nashville to do studying to take the next exam and stuff like that. And he's like, "Well, how do you have time for yourself?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." I was like, "Good question." Um, and we then get to talk much more because I got called up to go for my exam and stuff like that. But it's tricky. So it's a balance. So growing the company, I think in the beginning, um, and I've done this, like I'm on the EDA, which has been a great service for the community. At least I hope I feel that way.
What is the EDA?
It's the Economic Development Authority in Floyd. I've got voted on by the Board of Supervisors, and we help with the economic growth of Floyd County and how that happens and all different ways. So it's grants and working towards things. And it's really tricky because I've always been on the outside of, I wouldn't say it's like super political, but it's kind of got that gray area of that, where you're involved with policies and different things like that, and trying to raise money and make good decisions and as far as Floyd's future goes. And it's tricky. I've always sat on the outside and been like, oh, what the heck? Everybody's making terrible decisions and this and that. And when you're behind those closed doors and on a fly in the wall for some of those decisions, it's very tricky. It's a lot more than I would have thought. So going back to it, when I was on the EDA, in the beginning, we wrote a mission statement, and it was a cool process because, and I don't even know the mission statement off the top of my head, but I remember the process really well. And we broke off into groups, and we talked about the things that was important to the EDA, and we talked about what our goals were and stuff like that. We went through with a third party company, which was a really cool experience because it was like really like forced you to think about the things that you should. And I think that's the stuff about a business plan. Like nowadays, business plans are much more popular. Like when I started working in the early 2000s, late 1900s, 1990s.
20th century.
Yeah. I don't know what the heck you call it, dude. But I didn't really know much about business plans. Like I'm sure it was a taught thing and it was, but nowadays it seems much more prevalent. Like in the EDA also does 5 and 10 loans and stuff that there's a subcommittee for that. And so people have to have a business plan. When I started my business, I didn't even really necessarily know about business plans. And so part of the business plan also forces you to kind of look at your morals and what it is you want to do. I think, at least that's what I get out of reading them sometimes. But I don't know if that's too, I don't know how people look at business plans when they're doing it as a burden or like, I'm excited to do this business plan. And, because I think when somebody, and I don't know, this, like I said, it's my opinion. When somebody wants to start a business, they're excited about that. And they're like, yeah, I got the vision. And then they need to do the plan, either get the money or the loan or property or prove it to whoever they need to do it. And I think that is, I would say for me, a painful experience because I just want to do it. Trust me, I got this, and so they might rush through it. Now, some people probably don't, and they're way more like, I got to test this and make sure it actually works. But going back to the EDA and the mission statement, that piece of the business plan, it was awesome to be forced into thinking about values and morals. And when Abel and I started Omnibuild, that was one of the things that Abel brought up, because I'm more like, let's go, we got work and we're going to do it and build a team. And he's like, well, what are we doing it for? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, well, let's just talk about it. And so it opened up like this thing where we don't ever want to be the corporate model for ourselves. And I don't necessarily even know what corporate model means, but to me, like in a textbook, what it means to me is somebody moves up and then dictates all these other people to dictate these people that dictates these people. And then you lose sight of, the upper management and what that is. And I like it to feel like uh, um, morally where we're all on a similar playing field. And I feel that way. And I remember a guy quit and he came up to me and he's like, I don't even know you, man. And I was like, okay. And then like I realized what he was saying is that I was not as connected with my teams. And here in the past year, and it takes a while when this company's grown to where it is and what's going on, the plan has been for me to connect more with the teams and move more out of the office, and it's taking a while to get to that place, but it's happening slowly, and all the way down to the youngest people that work here. I mean, we have high school kids that are graduating this year that have been with us for a year working after school and stuff like that. I need to connect with those people. I don't want to be unapproachable and all those things. And one of the things that was very important to us was treating others that work with us the way we would want to be treated ourselves, and not taking every cent out of our company and leaving it in a place where it's self-sustainable and that we could help other people do things in their life, like send a trim crew over and pay them to trim out somebody's house that's not getting it done, or fix electrical at somebody's house because it's broken and, instead of charging them, or help somebody build their whole freaking house. Like we're not going to pay for every step of the way, but if we can go out there and give a kick-ass week, that's a lot of work done in a week. If we can pull some leftover materials from the shop and offer guidance and help in any of the areas, they're getting so many steps ahead. And that's the rewarding thing that I get out of it. And that is kind of like if I had to say we had a mission in Omnibuild in the beginning, it was to create a company that feels like you're important to it. And we have a young guy that works for us on the electrical crew. And I told him the other day, I met him in the shop and I saw the people were in there and I wanted to go in just to say hi. And I said, hey, man, I said, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you working here. And he's like, oh, he's like, well, this job saved my life. I'd still be in Florida, and hating everything and the way that my other employers treated me, and I was like, well, I'm glad that you found a place where you can feel pretty good about where you work. And like that was just a good feeling, man. And that, he felt the same way. And so I think for me, like, um, it's so important to not look at your employees and your people you're working at as bodies and numbers, as opposed to a person trying to make it in a world that gets harder and harder every year, and making a place where they mostly enjoy what they're doing. I mean, I know you should like your job, but I'm not even going to lie. I'd rather be hanging out with Massey building motorcycles and like working on my land than working a normal job. I love my job, but I have to do it to create my spot in this world and be able to afford the things that I have costs on in my life. So it's a tricky thing. It's like people ask like, oh, if it's like a common question, like my cousins and other people, like, if you won the lotto, would you quit working? And I'm like, that's a pretty good question when I really think about it, because initially I go probably on the opposite spectrum of people. I'm like, of course I would. Like, yeah, I love working because I do like working. I think I would, and I wouldn't want to ditch my family here at Omnibuild. Like, if I hit the lotto and I didn't have to work, my first priority would make sure that this thing keeps going, and that's the thing. Like, I do get lots of inquiries, is Omnibuild for sale? And 98% of them I think is just dumb AI generated emails that are probably not true. There's a few that I think are actually serious, and I say dumb things like, yeah, put 10 million in the mailbox on the driveway and I'll leave the keys on the table, cash on the marked bills, and they usually don't respond. And the truth is that's a joke that I say to kind of weed out like people. Do I think it's worth that? I have no freaking clue what a company's worth. Construction companies are, you know, difficult to, we have lots of car debt and things like that. And, we have some assets as far as like construction, but really the company Omnibuild it's people, you know. And if I left or key people leave, I think there's a lot of people that wouldn't want to stay. Personally, I don't know. I don't know if they do it because of me or they do it because of the next 20 people in line next to them, you know. But I want to believe that we're all in it because we feel good about what it is we're doing together, And I think that's a tough thing to build nowadays, And then you get people that come in and take advantage, fake an injury and take a big claim out on you and things. And it feels like a shot in the heart, dude. And it's like, oh God. And it's tough because when you're hiring people, you really want to do your best at like being realistic about the gut feeling. Like I've hired people that I'm like, I shouldn't hire this people. But then a part of me is like, I could probably give this person a good job and maybe they'll like learn and like be a better person and then I hire them and I'm like, oh, I screwed up, after a week and I've got to fire them or whatever. And a lot of times the firings happen because they don't fit. And people say, look, man, I can't work with this person. And I know right away, if one crew really can't work with them, it's just not going to work out. I know how it works here, and it's like I used to say about New York City. I worked up there in '08 and stuff during the recession and things in that area. And if you're not have tough skin, that place chews you up and spits you out. You have to know, you have to be able to manage how you view the world and relate to people in an entirely different way or you won't be able to make it work. And I think Omnibuild is the same way, just very polar opposite. It's like if you don't fit that kind of family mode of like respecting who you're working with, being there for one another, giving it your all, you just don't fit. It's just very obvious like right away, and that's why I think it's difficult for us to hire, but we've been very lucky over the years, and we've been very lucky at bringing people in with little to no experience in their area, but just a desire to work, and making that model work. I mean, we're doing it all the time. We just hired a new project manager,
Nice.
And she has no experience with project management. I mean, she has experience with management for sure. She's been managing herself and their family business for a very long time, but I can tell from the little bit I know about her that she's really organized, put together. Her work that she has done is meticulous and beautiful, and she's grown this really cool organic business on her own, with the help of her husband and stuff too. But I look at all that and I'm like, okay, you got something good, and we would like to utilize that together if it works. And I felt really good. And then, we have a new project manager, Tyler, who's been awesome. I mean, he's come in and, we are like this moving like situation of always evolving. And we put him in training as project management in kind of a new role. And instead of jumping him right into directly managing one or two projects, we put him in charge of 20, like in preliminary stages, so that he gets used to the conversation and checking in and the steps and things like that, as opposed to jumping straight in. And so for the past 2 months, he's been like learning all the steps. And I was like, this is great. And before we transition him into the land of project management, let's bring somebody else in so that they can get some training into that, because I think it's a good way to learn. And so like we just figured that process out.
What do you call that process?
The ever evolving process. I mean, we training, project management,
Hmm.
class one, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
we don't, like, Courtney does a very good job of adapting to the ever evolving situation in the office and in the field, and doing job descriptions. The field is much more, I say, straightforward. The people out there might not say that, but to me it's like, we've got two supervisors that oversee different aspects of construction. Like, Cody's looking at foundations and excavations and slabs and some of that pre-work, and Justin Miller is kind of doing, we call him the woodman, or I do. I don't know if he knows that yet, but he will soon.
The woodman.
And he oversees like the framing packages and all those types of things. And so and then we have the foremen like Ian and Chris and Orion and Graham and a bunch of other foremen on electrical, plumbing, and they all kind of manage either themselves depending on what their situation is, or their crews. And then on those crews we have kind of, I wouldn't, it's like steps. There's this song by the Avett Brothers, The Offering. It's a good song, actually. It's one of my favorites, but I don't listen to it anymore for some reasons. But there's a part in the song that says, I may have loved others, but they were all steps on a staircase to you. And so it's basically saying, like, hey, I've tried all these other things and they were, decent experiences. I've learned a lot, and I've stepped up each time to get to this place where now I'm at you, and it's the greatest thing of all time, and I'm stoked. It's like one of, I think, the greatest lines I've ever heard. And maybe I just haven't listened to enough music, but I was like, that makes sense in a lot of different zones of life, because you can beat yourself up about all the bad steps along the way, or you can say, well, I learned a shit ton on those steps. They were rough, but I learned and I'm getting better. And that's kind of what I look at in the process, and all of Omnibuild, but definitely in the field. We get a lot of people that come in that are just like, I've got true grit and I'm ready. And I'm like, well, we'll put that to the test. And and then they start off and they grow. I mean, we got a couple kids, man, that came on with no experience, and they are rock stars, and they are getting vehicles, and they are moving up. And we have another kid now that's basically been told, hey, you're going to move into a foreman type position, but you need do X, Y, and Z. And he's like, I'm in, and so that's really cool. So that's happening on like an organic scale outside of the office. I'm trying to give myself more and more outside of the office so I can Omnibuild's got all these pods, and then we kind of come together differently. And then I kind of want to be like floating around them all. I want to be out on the jobs. I want to be seeing people and doing things like that. And we're shaking up the office scene a little bit to move people around to different zones, so that somebody's going to step into the role of where I kind of oversee a lot in there and do that, and I'll oversee them, and I think it's a good process. I feel pretty good about it. And like I say all the time, I think you need to stay nimble in like business, and I think you can't get complacent in what's worked for you for 1 month or 1 year or 10 years. That times change, and what the demands are different, and what your availability is to resources are different, and you have to kind of keep evolving to it. And I don't think there's a right method that you just go online and Google it or ask a friend, or I think it's a collection of everything of like, what am I going to do now? It's like when you get a call and somebody says, I want to build 300 homes that are around $1 million a piece. And you're like, oh, okay. I think my mindset a long time ago would have been like, that's not possible for us. We can't. But now I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, we'll figure it out. And he's like, great. So let's meet next week. And I'm like, okay. And so it's interesting. And so, for me, I am not afraid as much anymore because I know the support I have. Like, Omnibuild itself isn't going to build 300 homes, but Omnibuild as a unit of all of our strengths are going to figure out how to do that. Like, and what I mean by that is I have the capacity to put together teams to do that because of what Omnibuild has created. It's like this whole thing that, when they talk about wheels spinning and spoke adjustments and stuff, when you're building a motorcycle rim, and I've never done this, but one of my closest friends does it all the time, and he's one of the smartest people I know. They have to adjust every spoke to make that wheel spin true. And, it takes time, and you have to put it on this little thing, and it spins, and you watch this dial, and if it touches the rim, it reads differently, and then you adjust it. I don't know how to do it, but I know somebody that does. But when I see that happening, to me, that's kind of like what business structure is like. And you're only as strong as your weakest link. And so you need to uplift that weakest link and make them strong too, and, I feel like I should end the podcast right now and go like give a dude a high five.
Well, I got a lot to say now, but I'm going to try and keep it brief because I like what you're saying. This is really cool, man. Like, that question sparked a really good answer going into the foundation of what has driven you to grow the company from the start with Abel. Back in the day, that mission statement, and you might have not had that phrase for it, but it created this strong foundation of what you were doing it for, to start with you and Abel and your families, so that you could do a job that you felt good about in a community, and then by proxy of that, help the business grow and the lives of the people joining the business and grow as well. It takes a lot to get to where you are now, but on that journey, getting there, you've maintained that foundation, that mission. And so now you're able to look at all of those relationships along the way, and the value that is there right there. As Omnibuild, you might not be able to build $100 million homes, or was it $300 million homes? So
it's like, I think of that movie, The 300. For Sparta.
Yes, dude. I don't know if we're talking about a real project, but that sounds epic.
Teaser alert.
That's all we're gonna get.
Yeah. I do want to say, it's one, I miss Abel a lot. I have struggled to maintain a part of me that was very present when he was in my life, and he's not gone. We talk, not nearly as much as I need to. But I genuinely miss him. I mean, we had I don't think I've ever met anybody that is as hardcore of a worker as him. And we just met at this level of like when forces collide, and it's just like shablam. and I had a lot of respect for him, and there's something about him that brought something out of me that I liked, as far as like, I need to be really honest and straightforward and things like that, and I need to think about what I'm actually doing before I do it. But the other thing I was going to talk about was, the community building, and I talk about Floyd a lot, but you should bleep out the word Floyd so nobody knows where we live. I'm sure it's only Floyd people listening to this, but because I don't want too many more people to move here. But you should love the place you live. And if you don't, then there are places out there that you would love to live and be a part of the community, because having that is been one of the most gratifying experiences of my life. When you see people in your community either getting injured or tragedy happening, and everybody standing up for each other, it's awesome. It's like, the principal at the high school is I was gonna say graduating. He is stepping down. He's one of, and I learned this from Tim Kaine. He came to this meeting because the EDA raised some funds for this project going on. And overheard him saying to Barry that I think he's one of the longest term principals in the state, maybe something like that. Don't hold me to that. You can do your own research, it's something profound. And he's just a good guy. And he's retiring, which is a bittersweet. We're like stoked for him to retire. At least I'm talking about myself, and also sad to lose him as the principal. But my daughter came home from school and she goes, "I'm just gonna miss Mr. Hollingsworth so much. Dad, can we give him a sweatshirt from Hobbybuild?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Where else does that happen?" Like, I love the fact that we all know the principal and that we all know the people that work for the sheriff's office and the first responders, and that everybody pulls together to support each other in times of need. And when a family's struggling, the community goes and lifts them up. And if you don't have that in your community, it's out there. And if you truly want to find some more happiness to your life, you might be happy in your marriage and with your family and the show you're currently watching and whatever the heck it is that gets you happy, and you feel like something's missing. Community is a pretty cool thing, like in that. And so I got to say with Floyd, it's pretty awesome. And, it's like in the construction thing, a contractor reached out to me the other day and asked about a concrete company for foundation walls. And I gave him a few recommendations. And I think there might have been a point in my life where I was like, I'm not going to tell him what I know because I have to protect all my family over here and not what and I was like, yeah, of course, man. And we talked for a little bit and it was a great conversation. And I felt really good about that. It's my buddy Nate. And I appreciate the fact that that's going on, because I talk about the old guard, the Benny Harris and the Kenneth Nolan, Graham and Underwood, and, R&J Construction and those places that were around, that it felt like a community with those guys. Like, I'd let them use equipment. I would, they would need electrical work or a boost on something. They would help us with things. We can refer work. I mean, it was a really nice thing to be a part of. And maybe that's happening again. And I think it would be really helpful for that to happen, because I think at the end of the day, we're all doing this hopefully to improve our life and be a better family person, And so going back to way, way, way in the beginning, that guy at my test talking, about how do I have time for myself and my family. It's a constant balancing act, for me. And I have to have decent boundaries and come home at 5-ish, and try to be as present as I can, and work my normal hours and find ways to make it work. And a lot of the ways I do that is I have a serious management team. I can probably take on quite a bit of the management and do not as good of a job and sacrifice my family, but they have to remain a priority. And I'm constantly trying to find ways to improve that. And me and Rye have a very good relationship. I can't quite explain how much I love her. It's kind of there's no words to describe it. It's just this big situation that's in my life, and it's a really nice thing to have. And she works with me now, and that has been scary, but awesome. I get to see her more. I think the world of her. I would do anything for her, and so I enjoy that. And she nudges me and reminds me of the things that I need to do better at, and I can hear it because I care about her, and I couldn't do what I'm doing without my family. You know, I'm excited. We're getting ready to go on a trip together. And honestly, those trips are amazing because I turn it all off, and I'm present and I've got support here, and the people that work in all the positions in Omnibuild know and they back me up. Same thing we do when they go out of town. We try to not bother them, and it's a really nice feeling. I mean, people deal with all sorts of things. I come back and they tell me, I'm like, oh, immediately, like, why didn't you call me? And they're like, well, and I don't really say that out loud because they're like, the next thing out of their mouth is, yeah, we dealt with that. And I'm like, sweet. That's pretty freaking cool. That I didn't have to, you know, even know about it. It might have ruined a percentage of my trip, but I think that for all intents and purposes, everybody's business model is their own. And I think that when you're doing it, to be aware in the beginning of what is most important. Is it most important to make as much money as you can? And if that is the goal, then you need to be realistic about how you're going to treat your employees and what you're going to say and how you're going to handle all that. And if your goal is to make a decent living and that is what you want out of your life, and bring a bunch of people in and try and do a similar thing for them, and you need to be realistic about it and what you say and how you say it, because it's still tricky, when you're working with all different emotions and different mental capacities and different states of mind and things like that. It's a constant evolution, and my model demands a lot. It puts me way more involved with lots of different people's lives, and I get a lot out of it. But it does demand a lot, and you need to be prepared for that, because you can't kind of be a certain way and then 5 years later change it completely. And if you do change somewhat, you need to be aware of it, and you need to have people around you that trust you enough and you have a good enough relationship with where they tell you, like, you've changed, something's different, and you need to be open to hearing that stuff. It's like my buddy Massey, he's like, I just want to ride motorcycles with you, and I like ride with him once a year. And I'm like, that's pretty pathetic for me. It's like, I need to be able to find like that balance, and that's why I go to counseling.
Maybe you ride your motorcycle to counseling. Massey can
Imagine that.
carpool with you.
He can drive me to counseling on
in the
his
sidecar.
Nuts to butts is what they call it. And it's not cool. It's kind of funny though sometimes.
Yeah. Only for good friends.
Different kind of friends. Yeah, I just talked to the hat and sweatshirt and t-shirt and all that lady today. Leadfoot and Dynasty Designs.
Apply them.
Hit them up, dude. They crush. They're awesome. She's going to do a big run for me of hats for regular Omnibuild, and then we're going to do the merch for FloydFest, which we've just kind of finished up the design for that. I'm pretty stoked on it. And I'm trying to partner with a bicycle company, but they won't message me back for FloydFest bike giveaway. We are going to do the bike giveaway at FloydFest this year, so I'm just going to say it. Even if they don't partner with me, I will find somebody else.
Yeah.
We're giving away 2 electric bikes at FloydFest.
What? Sign me up.
You got to come and take a picture at the photo booth.
Cha-ching.
And sign up for email so that we can send you like the most insane amount of spam you've ever seen. No,
Yeah.
just kidding. We
Just
don't
this podcast every
the
week.
only thing we know about spam is don't eat it. well, you can a few times a year. I don't know why we decided electric bikes. Probably because you just bought 2 and you love it. And they're kind of cool, man. It's like fun to buzz around and not have to pedal.
you got to pedal, I don't know, you got to pedal a little bit.
I'm just
It's
kidding.
not as hardcore as the guys wearing spandex, but
You can still wear spandex on an
it's
electric bike. It
you
just
can.
might get a lot of the judgment.
Yeah. So I think that's a great prize.
Yeah.
And it's free to sign up.
Yeah.
And every day there's going to be prizes, but the grand prize is going to be announced. But if you sign up on Thursday, you'll still be submitted to the grand prize on Saturday, I think is what we did last time.
I don't know how we're doing it. I think every entry is going to be going towards the grand prize now.
Yeah.
So if you win on Friday, you'll win that and you still entered for the grand prize,
Exactly.
I think.
Yeah. For sure.
Because we want everybody to try have an opportunity to win 3 prizes to piss everybody else off.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well,
it could happen. If that happens, I'm going to go home and play the lotto because it's like a luck strike. Just
put everything on 17.
They'll be like, the lotto is more than one number. I'll be like, I only need one number. And I'll lose. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. And other things that are going on. Yeah, we have a big company meeting coming up, which I'm excited about.
The entire company?
Yeah, entire company quarterly situation, which is a great opportunity for everybody to kind of hang out and talk and air grievances and air exciting news. We got some people getting ready to have some babies, which is stoked.
Nice.
Yeah, we do give people maternity leave paid so that they can spend some time with their family because it's, even the guys, it's nice to be home with your family for a few weeks and get paid and experience that because it's pretty rewarding to bring a life into the world. And, for women, it's freaking insane to grow a human inside your body. And then it comes out and you're like, wow. So that's a really intense process from what I've heard and seen.
Mm-hmm. And you got Omnibuild onesies for newborns too.
We do have onesies.
That's really cool. Merch drop.
Yeah, merch drop for your baby. I gave somebody a onesie once and they were like, you want my kid to advertise for you? And I was like, I guess. I thought
it was literally the first piece of clothing I put on our baby.
It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it for an advertisement. I meant it for like, we got these cool things for kids and here you go. But we could just take it outside and burn it and do it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, other than that, stuff's going good, man.
Yeah,
we're rocking and rolling. We got a couple new vehicles getting moved around the company. We have an in-house painter that is getting their van, and that's exciting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they don't do like whole house paints, but they do a lot of the little things and stuff like that. And they can do whole house, but it's just one person. And she's doing great. She's a rock star, and I'm really proud of her. She's one that came in and said, I want to do this. And I was like, and now it's like awesome. And I'm super proud of her. And she's crushing it. So, we kind of honor that, and we're like, hey, you need a van because you're actually turning in this into a viable thing, so that's kind of exciting. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be a really good year. I think it's going to be a really, really good year. And yeah, I'm excited about it.
Sweet.
Yep.
Well, we pretty much ran up on the hour.
Good, because I don't have anything else to say. Except sign up, please.
Follow.
I guess. I don't even know what it means. He knows what it means. So
put it on the background. Let it play. Turn the volume off. Whatever. Just let it. Give us a little boost.
Yeah, I think we're only getting like 1 view a week now.
No. We're still getting over 100.
Wow.
And we have, I think we have 25 subscribers or followers on Spotify, but we need to crank that up because there's more listeners than that.
Wow. Yeah.
So just remember to follow, subscribe.
Yeah, and I have the list of the people that have subscribed and I have like a couple hundred hats coming. So I'm going to pass them out.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, when the hats come, bring a few in.
And we'll display
and we'll
them.
Hawk them.
I need to figure out how to get them to everybody. Maybe like meet them at Hardee's or something.
Cash me outside.
All right.
Cool, man. Well,
Have
thanks
a
for
good
meeting with
weekend.
me. We'll see